Hairdressers Journal International, and we are here today for our session on becoming an ultimate Wella colorist, supported by Wella Professionals. And you'll see in our comment section some information about the Wella courses that Wella Professionals offers. And the Wella Studios offers a range of specialist programs, including the Ultimate Wella Colorist, which are bundles of Wella Professionals' best color courses packaged together, and with a 20% saving. So if you click on the link in the comment section or in the chat section if you're watching on Zoom, or you can call to find out more from your nearest Wella studio for personalised advice on what would suit you and your career. And specifically for this session, you'll see I'm not on my own. I've got the amazing Wella Professionals guest artist, educator and passionista Sarah Mason with us, and she is going to be revealing how she's used education to grow her career, the colour courses she'd recommend to you all, as well as how she's used her colour expertise to shape her own career, her business, as well as take each of her team members out of their comfort zone. So welcome, Sarah Mason. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. It's great to be here. Thanks, Laura.
Oh, brilliant. And I should add that Sarah Mason, her salon is based in Ireland, so she's tuning in today from Ireland for us, which is fantastic. So how are you, Sarah?
I am great. It's lashing rain here today, but I'm great.
Oh, brilliant. And I'm tuning in from Kent, and it's not raining just yet, but I'm sure it'll be on the way in no time. Well, I should add, Sarah, that you have got over 25 years of experience within the hairdressing industry, haven't you? And you're a business owner of Sarah Mason Professional in Ireland. You're a national and international award-winning artist, and of course you are a Wella Professionals guest artist, educator and passionista. So you're well equipped to talk us through this session today.
Absolutely.
Oh, amazing. And anybody tuning in, you're more than welcome to ask Sarah questions as we go along. But should we maybe just kick off, Sarah, with you telling us a bit about how you have personally used education to grow your own career?
So for me, I'll always go back to the beginning. The foundation for me is absolute key, and I think that's what makes you the stylist you're going to be in the future, when it comes especially to colour. And I think that, you know, for many years I started a very long time ago, and building up on specific colour courses that gave me a really strong foundation. And what I mean by that is really, I suppose, if I didn't have the foundation and the strong understanding of how colour works and how you know, and how development is, then I don't know if I'd be where I am today. I think it's very important for me. Education is very much at my heart, and not only do I love, you know, giving education, but I also love receiving education. I think it's very important for all of us. We're always all learning, and it is a learner's guide to our world. I think, you know, with new launches, new products coming on the market. But ultimately, for me, going to the studio from many moons ago, over the years, I always felt that it was great for me to get outside my comfort zone. I think it's good for any stylist, or if you're in your training and you're only beginning and you just start an apprenticeship, to go outside your comfort zone and go to the studio, meet other people. It's a great way for you to build your skill set and to kind of really begin your journey, as I suppose you'd say it. So yeah.
Amazing. And obviously you're very experienced, Sarah, and you've carried out lots of different courses over the years. Are there any specific colour courses that you would recommend to anybody who's tuning in this morning?
So do you know what I have here, Laura? I have the brand new education book, and it's absolutely fabulous.
Look at that stunning image on the front as well.
Robert's image, absolutely stunning. It's really beautiful. And do you know what? This year it's quite exciting because the Ultimate Wella Colourist is actually my own image, which I'm really happy with.
Oh, that's beautiful, Sarah.
But guys, there is loads, like from the beginning. I think to become the ultimate colourist, you need to start right from the foundation. And even if you've been a stylist for many, many years, or maybe colour has always been your struggle, you need to start at the beginning. So really starting at the start with essential craft colour, And moving on, there's Instacolor, there's, you know, color correction, and you need to build up all those courses. Now, I know that Wella do have kind of a package available at the moment, and it builds right up into your masters. And I think for me, like I actually did, I'm going to be really honest here, Laura, I did my masters quite late in my career. Because of obviously having family and other things got on in the way with me. I was too busy going for competition and stuff like that. And I also have to thank Sinead O'Sullivan, because she really pinned me down and said, you know, this is something that you need to do. And I did. And when I did it, it strips you right back and gives you a really strong kind of understanding of from the science, from your eye, how you perceive color. So really, it's important that you have all those courses built up. There's probably about 7 or 8. There's Color Genius, there's Instacolor, there's so many that you can do before you actually go and do your masters. And I think it's vital that you do all those courses before you actually physically take the time. I think the masters, you need to give yourself that year of clarity. I really enjoyed my masters, and you know, it was lovely to get back to the books, sit down and remember kind of areas that that maybe I probably wasn't quite working with. And when it comes to, like, let's say a conundrum in the salon, that you're that person, you're that go-to when you have that master's done. So it's very important that all those courses are sat before you go and sit your masters.
Brilliant. And I should just say, Sarah, I'm hoping that nobody experienced any technical issues there. We just had a slight problem in the background. So I'm hoping that any of you tuning in from Facebook didn't have a problem there, but we should be all good now. And everyone on live on Zoom, that should have all still been going fine for you. But Sarah was just talking to us there about her recommendations for courses, weren't you, Sarah?
Yes.
Brilliant. We've had a great question, statement, should I say. Susie has said she is super excited to get back into the London studio again. And that leads on to my next question for you, Sarah, which is, you know, especially during these difficult times that we're all experiencing. But what would you say, in your opinion, are the advantages of attending colour courses in the studio, kind of being that in that physical space?
I think when you go to the studio, you're going to a certain setting. You're going into a different zone, and you're away from your salon environment where, you know, I think when you're in your salon environment, there's so much going on. You're dealing with your client base, where when you take a day out or a couple of weeks out, depending on what you're doing, to go to the studio, you're specifically there in that mindset, and you can really engross yourself in the conversations that happen with your studio educator. I know throughout the world we have the best of educators, and I think that it's really nice hearing things from the top. I think the one thing that I would see sometimes in the salon is that information can get lost in translation, but when you are in the studio, you're getting 100% clarity and understanding of maybe an area of colour that maybe mightn't have been as clear for you. The other thing that I really enjoy is that everybody gets hands-on, and the hands-on can be so much fun, because sometimes you end up getting teamed up with someone that you never met. So it's really good for networking and building, you know, your friendships through the industry, because we all know as big of an industry it is, it's actually quite small, and we all get to know each other quite well, which is lovely. And the other thing is also, like, even with the masters, you'll get to meet someone like me or a guest artist between the UK and Ireland. And I think that's really important, because they are days that generally you are unleashed to a potential that is at a different caliber, where there's a little bit of freedom in it. And, you know, I really enjoy those days when I have maybe stage 2 or stage 4, and, you know, they all want to know, you know, what about the head block or what? And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about that today. Today is about having absolute fun and pushing your boundaries. And I think that's you're not going to have that in the salon every day. So studio for me is so important. And I really, be honest, Laura, I miss the studio. I can't wait to get back into the studio myself and you know, to get some education myself, or to, you know, to be able to give some education.
Definitely. And we've had a great question from Tracy, and I think it'd be interesting to get your perspective on it. And she's asked for advice in terms of the cost, because she finds doing the face-to-face courses in the studio are quite expensive, so she finds being able to afford them a challenge. Do you have any advice from your point of view? And I should add that if you look, Tracy, in our comment section, you should see there is a 20% saving. But for Sarah, who's actually done the courses, it would be interesting to get her perspective on that side of things and how she works it with your business.
Yeah, so your business planning is very, very important when it comes to, you know, planning who is going to have what education. I know in Ireland we do have a thing called English Skill Net, which helps us to kind of pay your courses out so that you're not kind of outlaying, you know, 3,000 or 4,000 straight away, that you have time to pay them off. Budget is everything. I mean, if you're going to plan your course for, let's say, June, then you need to start saving your budget now. And what I would say to you is, what I know some of the guys, one of my guys actually did her master's. And what she did was they teamed up with other people that were doing their masters, and they rented accommodation instead of staying in hotels. So that was a massive saving. So although they had paid for their education in full, she didn't have, you know, huge big costs while she was up there. Her costs were a lot less. You know, they were actually going out, they were going to the supermarket and they were buying, you know, a shop for €20 and feeding the 6 of them that were on the course. So little thing, I know, but it really worked. And you know what? They're great pals still. And believe it or not, guys, I am still in touch with some of the people that I did my masters with, which is lovely. You know, we still touch base. How are you keeping? And, you know, it's just nice to have that. But you know, there's one thing I'm going to say is, whatever you financially put into your career, you will always get back. And you can multiply that by 1,000,000. Because what I got back from my masters was a bigger client base, a better client base. Your client base will want you. So to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter what you spend. I've always been a person that's invested in my own career my whole life. So it's very important that you're not really thinking about the outlay. You need to think about what the return in it is, and what's it going to do for you, and how is it going to make your business be better. At the moment, at present, we have 2 master colour experts in the salon. Where, please God, by the end of this year, we'll have another one. And I mean, I think that for me, when I see, you know, one of the things they teach you is kind of how to create the perfect docket, how to make this beneficial for your business financially. And that's what you need to be thinking about, not what you paid for your course. And I hope that's kind of answered your question, Tracy, because it is, for me, you need to be thinking of the longer perspective of how this can turn a business around. And we all know where money is, it's all in colour.
Great advice there. Thank you so much, Sarah. And you mentioned there about how you've used it to grow your clientele as well. So have you really banked on it in terms of the marketing aspect and selling your skills to the people in your area, so they know that if they come to you, they're getting a really good quality, exceptional colorist?
So do you know, there's a few areas that I have about this. Like, first of all, when you do your masters, you need to think of, or like even at that now, the ultimate colorist, right? So an ultimate colorist is someone that has sat all those courses in your area. You might be in a small village or a town where no one else in that town or village has that expertise. You need to scream about it. Look, that's what Instagram and TikTok and, you know, Facebook is for. Advertise yourself well. What I will say to you is that what I really felt about what it has done for me is it created my own identity of who I am as a colorist. And I think that's very important, that you don't fall into the pocket of just, you know, literally the clone of colorists, where you're kind of doing the same as everybody. Identify of who you are, what kind of work you like. I think that you need to be clever in your coloring techniques, and they need to be bespoke, so that you can charge more for them. And, you know, you need to show the intricacy that you know how to colour a haircut. And even if you're not a stylist that cuts hair, but that you're able to see and that you have a vision for your colour palette to be able to sit on that haircut, and that they both marry together to look really beautiful. And I think when you can advertise that really well, that for me, really brings amazing things to your business. And what I will also say is that, like, look, yes, we are in a changed world at the minute. In my salon, it is a colour shop. That's all we do is colour and cut. And I think that, you know, one of the things that we were really working hard on is to try, you know, to portray the best as we possibly can, and to look that we're slightly different. And that definitely brings a client base that's very solid. They always like to pay a little bit more because they know what they're getting, and they know that when it comes down to even the consultation right through to the very end, when you say goodbye to them, that they're getting 100% expertise.
Brilliant, Sarah. No, that's fantastic. And maybe if we can talk a little bit about, we've had a question here specifically about what the Master Colourist course entails, and whether it's possible to do it as a mainly online self-taught course, or if it is more of a course for the studio.
So I actually have two different ways of looking at this. When I did mine, there was no pandemic, and I did mine in the studio, and I enjoyed every bit of it. And I definitely think the driving force will be back to the studio. I think that, you know, please God, by the end of this year, that we all will be taking trips back to our studios and enjoying our education. However, I think if your master's is available online, I know that last year some of our masters was online, because obviously they wanted to carry through with masters that had already begun. And I think that was very successful. The only difficulty is when it comes to hands-on. So it's generally 4 stages, and in those 4 stages, they're broken down into kind of like 2 stages within one. So you nearly have 7 to 8 courses. Some of them are over 2 days, 3 days. They're broken down over 6 months. And really, to kind of strip it back and just give you a little bit of insight of the masters, it strips back to you learning about how hair is created, you know, how your eye, how you physically see color, what absorbs colors, what you know, the different science areas of being a colorist, and what is important, you know. And we all know that the story of, you know, when a client says, you know, I want red hair, your red and their red are 2 different things. The masters will teach you that. It'll teach you why that they're different. And that to me is phenomenal, because it's really good scientific research that's put together in this course to give you that in-depth knowledge. I have to say it was one of the most fabulous courses I ever sat in my whole career. And I will say you do need some study time. I studied like mad. And for anyone that's going forward for it, what I would advise is just have your post-it notes. And what I did was I noted every page that I got, because by the end of it, you'll have a massive big manual. And I post-note all my important pieces on each page. And then when I was ready to do my exams, I was well able for them.
Oh, brilliant, Sarah. We've actually had Violet has just said she really wants to do this course, so she really struggles with colour.
Oh, do it, Violet. But you know what? If you're really struggling with colour, don't be afraid to strip yourself back. There is no shame in going right back to the foundation and starting at the beginning. And I really can't emphasize that enough. By trade, I'm an all-round hairdresser, so I kind of hit the mark for everything. I cut, I colour, I upstyle, I do absolutely everything. But when I was training, I was absolutely petrified of colour, in the sense of if I was toning something at the basin and the next thing I saw it kind of going purple or going blue, I was straight over to rinse it off, instead of standing back and saying, no, it's just doing its job. You've chosen the right shade. So if it's going to do anything for you, it's going to build your confidence. And confidence is absolute key, because you're going to carry that confidence over to your client. So it's very important. And I mean, when you go back to the studio, it's lovely for you to be able to kind of sit into that niche, get all the information that you need, build that confidence, and then be bringing it back into the salon and then to build up into your masters. But I mean, there's also the fun element of courses like the Insta Ready and, you know, colour correction. So many people struggle with colour correction, where they just don't know where to start, or they have something in the chair and they just, all they have is a mental block. Where colour correction is one of my favourite things. I love to get in and do a good colour correction.
Brilliant, Sarah. And obviously there's been a lot of that more recently, hasn't there, with all these lockdowns?
It's great. I love it.
Do you have any advice for Violet if maybe she wants to do the big ultimate Wella Colourist course once she's able to, once lockdown finishes? Is there any courses she could do in the meantime to start boosting her confidence while she's at home?
Absolutely. So go on to education.wella.com. There is an array of courses, and sign yourself up there. And like, look, there is courses. Do you know what? I said this in a live the other day. I think in our industry, and we're very, very lucky because our industry across the globe came together to create content for all hairdressers, just as you're talking there, Laura, that to build confidence and to keep the morale and the spirits up. And I think that it's really been an incredible kind of shine the light on our industry when it comes to sharing and who we are as individuals and as hairdressers. And I think, you know, if it doesn't matter who you are, you can be hairdressing like me nearly 30 years. I will still tap in to see, oh, what's on, or maybe I'll learn about that. There's always going to be a bright spark that's come together with some brand new technique. Go and learn them. There is so much in Wella Education. And when the studio's back open, get yourself organised. You know, set out your courses. The studio will always talk to you about planning your courses in the right direction. As I said in the education book, it is there set out. I'll just actually, do you know what I'm going to do, Laura? I'll just literally read out. So when you go to do your become a certified ultimate color Wella colorist, so you have your craft essential, craft highlights, correction, color ready, insta ready color genius, and then color masterclass, and then you have your master color program, which is 6 to 12 months. So there's loads in that. But now, while you're at home, I can't recommend enough for you to get online and get and see on the global page. There's plenty. There's always an artist there on Wella Hair on Instagram, on Wella Hair, on Wella Hair UKI, and then, but definitely their own education platform. There is loads, from business to colour to cutting, styling, you name it, it's all there.
Brilliant. That's great advice there, Sarah. And during this time, there's quite a lot of free stuff as well, isn't there, for people to get involved with from an education
That's what I mean. Like, there's been a real flush of kindness in our industry. And I do you know what? I don't care what anyone says. I do think that when it comes to kindness, hairdressers are by far one of the kindest industries that will give their life, body and soul into everything. And, you know, I think we give so much, but while you're at home, you know, if you're not an educator, and if you're not someone that's going to be going live, go in there and get the information you possibly get. It really will help you in the reopening of your business. And there has been very much a live presence from Wella of the Reopen with Wella. And that campaign has been absolutely amazing because all those courses are set, you know, even from a health and safety guideline, it's all there for you to learn. And it's great for your team. You know, I did in Ireland. I don't know how it is in the UK, but in Ireland, I got in touch with Cormac Ralston. We have a assistant professional, and we have Niox in the salon. And he did education for me last week for my team. So look, it's all there. It's just go and access it. Don't wait till tomorrow. Get in and do it. Have a look around. Write yourself a list. Decide what it is that you'd like to do, and then just do it. Now's the time. We're not going to get this time again, I don't think.
No, exactly. And definitely. And Susie mentioned that she gets so much from the Facebook Wella community page. So do check that out.
Yeah.
And Francoise is brilliant. Francoise has said she feels quite confident with colour corrections. Would she need to do the basics again?
Not necessarily. If you have a strong foundation and you understand how colour works, then move on to the next. But that, I still think you can be an amazing corrective colorist. Definitely for me, it has to come from two perspectives. So there is the science and technical understanding of being an amazing colorist, and then there's the creative side. So we all know that a client can come in the door and they want X, but actually Y is not going to work with X. And we need to think about maybe, you know, the technicalities of how we're going to get that client transition to the place she needs to be. So that is where sometimes I would see that if you need the technical understanding, that it's there. The other thing I would say, and I said earlier, is, about hands-on. When you get, when you're doing your masters and you have different challenges, you have different group challenges and stuff, that's really, really fun. But also you get to see how other people work. And I think that's quite important, because I know when I was training, we used to have to mark a stylist. And like now you can't work like that. But when we did, you learned more from watching. And then when you went to do things, they became easier. So don't forget, we do watch, when you're watching other people, we watch daily life, you learn so much.
Fantastic, Sarah. We've just had another question as well about the 20% off. So Federica, if you click the link, you should see that there are bundles of Wella's colour courses packaged together, which have that 20% saving with them. So do check that out. We are running out of time, Sarah, but I'd love to talk to you a little bit about, obviously you're a huge success story. You're an amazing colourist, how you've used all of your colour expertise from doing all of these courses to really boost your career, network with people, get yourself out there, and how it's boosted your confidence as well.
Well, I just think that, look, if an opportunity knocks once, it might knock twice. You always need to put yourself out there. And even for this, as I said, Laura, if you have to go back to foundation, do it. Just face your fear. You've only one life. So look, just do it. I think for me, shaping my career, for me, it's brought the most amazing people into my life, especially through the Wella family and through the UK and Ireland. I always feel it's very close to my heart of the most amazing people I've got to work with over the years. I'm not afraid to still step on a flight, well, when we were able to fly, but to go and put myself forward for different things. I'm very much, about that. And for me, it's not about money. It's about a learning life experience that I really enjoy. It's all I ever wanted. I didn't want to be anything else. I wanted to be a hairdresser when I was a kid. And I mean, it just gives you, it's great to get to meet people that think the same, that share the same values as you, that share the same passion as you. And the one thing I would say, and I said this to you yesterday, Laura, I think that when we get back open, I know that there's darkness in the world, but as colourists, we are the people that will bring colour into people's lives. So much so, go and learn all that you can, put yourself out there, market yourself right, and just do your best, get in touch with a photographer, maybe shoot a few looks. That's what I'm dying to do, is get back behind the lens. Oh, I can't wait.
I know, and I have to say, from a personal perspective, me and Sarah, we've crossed paths in all different ways. And Sarah, you are a real yes woman. I could go anywhere and it'd be like, oh, hi, Sarah, you're there, because you've taken an opportunity and you've just rolled with it. And I think a lot of people could take that from you, in that, sometimes you just can't think too much. You just have to go for it, and then you'll.
I don't even think about it. It's just I'm in there, and I think that also when you surround yourself around like-minded people, I definitely think it changes. I know it certainly has for me. It changes your perspective of how your daily life is. So surround yourself around the right people and the magic will happen. I know for me that has definitely been the way, but that's not going to happen unless you put yourself out there and you get to know these people. I know that, and I'm always there as a guest artist. You can always write to me on Sarah Mason Creative on my Instagram. You can write to me there if you have ever a question. I know I'll always help you out. It might take me a day or two to get back to you, but I will come back to you as soon as possible. And go and be an ultimate colourist. I mean, honest to God.
And that's great. That's great, actually, Sarah. So if anyone does have any specific questions, Sarah is happy to answer your questions because she's done these courses herself. We do have a couple of questions that have come in as well, Sarah. And we've had one saying that she has a home salon and she works alone and she has children. How much time per week would she need to set aside for study, would you say?
Oh, well, do you know what? I had a very small baby when I did mine. And I had two children, but one was very small. And I did my study time really at night time when I had the time, because you do need that time to really set aside to give yourself that 100%. So I did do a lot when my baby was sleeping. But, really it's how you dissect. I would give yourself a little time each day rather than saying you're going to give yourself a full day if you don't have that time. You know, and maybe map it out in your calendar of how you'd like it to kind of look. Now, we all know when we've children, it can all fall apart in 2 seconds, but you know, you can pick it back up. Even look, you know, look, we're reading information, you know, taking notes and just having we all know that some people have to study more. For me in school, I had to study really hard. School was certainly not my best subject, and homeschooling is a 0 subject for me. But, you know, I think when it came to my master's, I knew I really had to put my mind to it. But listen, it's not, you know, it's not that difficult. You already know a lot of it. It's just refreshing the mind and bringing you back to the basics for you to have a stronger understanding. So just take your notes. As I said, post-its. If you keep writing your post-its, you'll remember it. It's not going to take a huge amount of study.
Well, that's great advice there. And Jacqueline has said that she's obviously part of the Wella family, and she said they've kept her sane during this whole time. So that's great to hear, Jacqueline.
Brilliant.
And we've had another question. This is to do with the kind of the financial side of it again, Sarah, and you might be able to help because you are a salon owner yourself. She says her salon has always sent her staff on lots of courses, but with costs at the moment, are salons paying for all courses? And I guess this will vary from salon to salon, and you're a salon owner, so maybe you can just give your perspective from a personal perspective as a salon owner.
Yeah, what I would say is budget yourself out. I know this year is extremely difficult. There's only so much that you're going to be able to budget for, let's say, your education or your advertising or what, you know, your stock, all your different things. And we know when we're looking at figures, this year has been a little bit difficult. And really what I would say, it is very personal to each business of how things are going to be. But if there is enough in your budget, break it down. You know, if you have one star that's really helped you out this year, then that's that person that you need to send on that course. If all your team have been together and everybody's worked, break it down, send somebody on, you know, send them all on something smaller to try and build a little bit, to get them all started on that roller coaster. And sometimes that's kind of the answer. If you have a bigger team, if you start sending them on all the different courses, it's nice to kind of start. And then by the end of it all, then they'll all, you know, they'll have all kind of accrued that master's stage. So I mean, what it is, it's a very difficult. I know a lot of us don't kind of know where we are, where we're going to be in 6 months' time, but I can assure you, we're going to have another shed of what's like Christmas. So you need to look forward to that, and that is going to bring a lot of revenue again into your business for it to help you afford. The other thing is, talk to your studio, see how it is. You can break it down. I know in Ireland it's a little bit different. But in the UK, you know, talk to your studio and see how it is that you can manage that these courses happen for you, and that you can, I'm sure, make an arrangement.
Well, that's great advice there, Sarah. Kelly, if you're looking to find out more about Wella, if you go to wellaprofessionals.com or education.wella.com to find out more about the courses that we're talking about today. And we've also had another question in terms of the online versus the studio courses. I guess, is it personal preference, Sarah, or would you recommend one over the other? Or
you know what? I think I actually have had this conversation with one of my girls that is like that you know wants to go and do her master's, and for her, she has a young baby, so she wants to go to the studio because she wants to be in the zone. So I absolutely get that. For me, I
a bit of time away.
Yeah, she wants to get away from it. I think it is very personal. As I said, if coming to kind of hands-on, it is a little bit more difficult. You do need to be in the studio, but I have to be honest, like it's at the moment, if there's anything you can sit online, go and sit it, because you may not get the time to sit, you know, some of your courses later on because you're going to be so busy. But what I will always say, you're in the zone when you're in the studio. I would be booking your courses for the studio when you're able to. It is always better for you to be in the studio, in that environment where it's all happening. You can put your hand to anything. You'll never be in the studio and find that there's no 916 or there's no 1016 for any of you hairdressers out there. You know, it's all there. And I remember when I used to go to our very old, like our old studio, I used to go in and I used to be like, it's like Christmas coming in here, because they had everything. And there is a sense of excitement when you go to the studio, because you're in a different place, and you know, everyone's having coffee, everyone's friendly, everyone wants to say hello to you. So when you can get back out, definitely I'd recommend the studio.
Fantastic, Sarah. And we are coming to the end of the session, so maybe we can just wrap up with you sharing the benefits from a business perspective, from a creative perspective, and for your team as well, of being an ultimate Wella colorist. Maybe you could just kind of share that with us.
Well, I think for me, it unleashed my creative mind, most definitely. And I think that it really will help you to think differently when it comes to colour. You will think differently to anybody else when you have all of this under your belt. It certainly did for me. Advertising myself locally and nationally has been very important. I have a client base that comes to me from all corners and from overseas. And I think that really, you know, it does change who you are as an artist when you have all that under your belt. But make sure you advertise yourself well. Don't be afraid to you know, get it on your website. Your web page is really important. Your Instagram, your TikTok stories. When you're going to the studio for a day, tell everybody. All your client base want to know. And the other thing it does for people that don't know you is we all know that social media is kind of a filtering domino effect. And there's nothing more than somebody saying, look at that girl, she's out there. Look at that guy, he's out there doing something different. So go and do it. Don't stop yourself. You know, it's the best. It's the best advice I can give. It's just don't stop. Put yourself forward for everything. It's who we are. You never stop learning, you know, and just push yourself out. Have an open mind. You're going to learn the best of new trends, the best of what's coming new. You know, you'll also have the Master Congress that comes after that. And that is, you learn about things that are coming new to the market. And I love Master Colour Congress, because you hear about things that no one knows about.
You get the inside scoop, Sarah.
It is, because you just get an insight of, okay, where the trends might be coming, you know. And I think the one thing I will say is that Wella are very on it at the moment with the new grey blending. There's so much going on in the colour world, and there's so many changes in our clients. You need to be able for that. You need to be ready for that. You've just seen Robert's campaign over grey blending. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And I think that it's very important that as artists, and I'm not just talking about me as a guest artist, I'm talking about as any artist. As long as you're a hairdresser, you're an artist. So you need to be able for that, because the client base is going to be seeing that. So you need to go and educate yourself.
Definitely. And once you've educated yourself, applying that on clients, don't just go back into your comfort zone. Stay outside of that comfort zone.
Well, you know, actually, Laura, there's one thing I want to say before we go. I love consultation. Consultation is actually one of my favorite parts of my day with a client. And it's when they come in and, you know, they might have come in sad, and you give them a big smile, and straight away you're cheering them up, or you're getting them into the mood. But I absolutely love a really good in-depth consultation. And I'm very lucky. A lot of my clients just do exactly what I say. They sit in the chair. They don't really say to me, can I have? It's like, okay, just you're
do
in
your
charge.
thing.
Yeah, you're in charge, which I absolutely love. And that also has kind of calibrated into my client base from me getting in-depth knowledge and education. And if I didn't have that, I possibly wouldn't have that client base. So your consultation is absolutely key. And then delivering. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. Just promise what you think you can achieve in that time and on the day, and build that momentum of, you know, services, and bringing the client back. Arrange your clients to be coming back for more services, so that you're organized. I have my clients organized till June, so it doesn't matter what happens. You know, they all have appointments already, so there's no worry on that side of things.
That's fantastic advice there, Sarah. So you get building your trust by being able to share the fact you've got all this expertise, technical knowledge, creative knowledge, and you've built your confidence in yourself, but also your clients as well.
All of that has to happen in your consultation. All of it, you know.
Fantastic. Well, I think it's safe to say we've run out of time, Sarah, but it's been an absolutely fantastic session. I hope
You're so
everyone who's been
welcome.
tuning in today feels inspired to really up your colour game, and to sign on to some colour courses and use this time wisely. There might be some courses you can do from home right now, and hopefully at some point do them physically in the studio as well, where you can get the benefits of networking, like Sarah says, asking people for advice, getting that hands-on tuition, which money can't really buy, can it really, Sarah, in terms of how much it pays back into
you absolutely.
Yeah.
Just always remember the return. The return is so much more than what you have outlaid into your courses. So much more. It's a learning experience.
Definitely. But if you do click on the link, which we have in the comment section on Facebook and also on Zoom right now, you'll be able to find out more about the Ultimate Wella Colourist bundles of the best Wella colour courses packaged together with 20% saving. So for those of you that are worried from the financial point of view, do check that out. Amazing, Sarah. Well, this has been a wonderful session. I've even had the sun shining while we've been talking. You brought a ray of sunshine over here, which has been fantastic.
Well, enjoy. I'm sending you all lots of Wella love. I hope you're all doing okay, and hopefully we'll all get back to work soon.
Brilliant. And if you have any specific questions about the courses, Sarah, you have very kindly said you're happy to answer them on your Instagram page. It's Sarah Mason Creative, isn't it?
Yeah. So you can write to me there, no problem.
Brilliant, because she's got first-hand experience. She's done it. She's got the t-shirt. She's getting the client.
I've got my apron.
You've got your apron, should I say? Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Well, thank you so much to everyone for tuning in, and thank you so much, Sarah, for giving up your time to share all of your words of wisdom this morning.
Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.
Great to see you. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.